Hi, guys, and welcome to Hear Me Out, which is what I'm calling all the stuff that I am doing to do with mental health, building a brand, taking a leap of faith when it comes to starting a business, all things that I want to talk about. And I said to call it Hear Me Out because this way we get a chance to hear people out, hear me out, hear the guests out. And today we have my friend Anna, and she is the founder and creator of Analogy, and she's going to talk about that more. But yeah, so we're going to talk about mental health. We're going to talk about our stories as women in this dark world. I'm joking, in this beautiful world. And we are just going to have a genuine conversation and honest, open conversation. And hey, man, I hope it helps the two of us, but I also hope it helps you guys. So let's get into this conversation. Hi, Anna.
Hello.
How are you?
Where should we start? Okay, how am I? I'm good. I have
Yeah.
just finished my first year of university. I'm now doing a summer
Woo-hoo!
course, settling
Yes.
in the Netherlands, adjusting to the
Uh-huh.
weather, being a little bit homesick. But other than that, pretty grateful, pretty lucky to be here. Just kind of vibing and learning, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good. Um, we're gonna start with our friendship love stories. People have their love stories. I feel like you'll know my love story eventually at some point, but we're gonna talk about my friendship love stories because I love my friends. Anna, how did we meet? Do you even remember? Or when did we start being close? Let's talk about that. When did we start being close?
So I also can't exactly remember the exact day we met or anything, but I know that
Mm-hmm.
we definitely related to each other. We had a connection. Shami and I were in AS and A2 literature together in high
Yeah.
school, and we would be very critical of each other, but also very supportive of each other's ideas in the class. And it was good banter, it was good humor, just judging each other for which characters we liked and being like, no, how could you like Heathcliff, he's so
I
toxic.
loved Heathcliff, but I don't anymore.
Oh good. And relating over things like that and seeing how it connected to our personal lives as well, which then moved sort of outside the classroom, learned a bit more about each other also through choir, vocal ensemble,
Mm-hmm.
spending a lot of time in those small groups where you have to connect and you have to be on the
Yeah.
same wavelength. That kind of, I think that strengthened our bond a little bit more. Going different places, spending long hours at rehearsals, all of
Yeah.
that, we just we clicked pretty well, and
We
we are really
did.
good at hearing each other out and understanding where we're both coming from without giving in to I don't know, the more self-sabotagey things that we can do to ourselves, and kind of just being like,
Yeah.
oh, I know this thing and this is what helped, or oh, I
Mm-hmm.
recognize that in you, and I really value this quality of you, and I think it brings this out in me a lot more. So I think we've been pretty good for being able to relate to each other, but also to balance each other out a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you as a friend.
Me too. I miss you. Oh my gosh, come back home. Like, oh my gosh. This,
I'm
you
trying.
know, guys, Anna was my wifey. Um, but she's not anymore. um, I do love it to bits and pieces. Um I think especially on the mental aspect of things, when we were both going through relationship stuff when we were in high school, we related when it came to that. And I didn't even know stuff was going on with her, but then we actually had our moments where we were not in a great place when it comes to that, but then seeing our growth um even after that, like it's really cool to see. And how last year we didn't talk a lot. Let's just we didn't talk a lot because a lot was changing. I was kind of shut down because pandemic, like COVID, kind of messed everything up for everyone, I think. And I was unavailable at the moment. Please try again later. I was trying to get myself together mentally and emotionally. But I feel like especially mentally is what I've seen is something that has happened a lot during the pandemic. And with people being isolated and being alone, you realize that you, even though people say, I don't need no one, we need the community. We need to be able to have someone around us to know that we aren't alone. It's not like that's going to fix everything, but I think having that awareness is something that is vital. And that's where analogy comes in, because you have managed to um bullet journal, which is so pretty. I'm just like, if I could draw, I would draw like Anna. But also like in May, because May is it's mental health awareness month. You've been posting stuff to do with mental health and how to handle things, and firstly, like, you've been doing an amazing job. Let's just publicly like applause.
Thank you.
Studio audience, everyone in the studio. Woo!
Thank you, Shami.
You're welcome. Like, you've managed to um do that, like post every single day on analogy and resources, and sometimes I'm like, this is so interesting, and I follow the things and all that stuff. So firstly, can we just start with, how did you start, why did you start analogy, what do you do there, and then we'll get into the whole talk about mental health.
Okay, so Analogy is my Instagram page that's separate from my personal page. It's an.nalogy. And I started it actually during break after IGCSEs. I started up the page and I had no idea what it was going to be at first. It was going to be just like an entire creative outlet. I was like, I'm going to put everything on there, from my journal to art to poetry to dancing to everything. And then as time passed, it kind of got narrowed down, and it's become my bullet journaling and my studygram page. And that's kind of where it stayed for a while. And I've built like a really great community on them. So on Analogy, I share not only the artistic side of my bullet journal, but also things I find really beneficial about the system. Study tips now, especially that I'm in university and there's so much responsibility and a lot less guidance. Things also just to do with like well-being and personal well-being and student life and moving away from home and how to manage yourself and self-regulate, because especially like growing up in Zim, I've noticed a lot. I felt way behind my peers here in Europe because they've had so much independence. And you know, they can just go places from like age 12. They can just go and walk and, you know, do their thing and tell their parents they're coming back when they're coming back. But we don't have that in Zim. It's just a different culture. It's just a different situation. So coming here, I felt like I had so much to learn in terms of independence and managing myself and self-regulating and knowing what I'm feeling and how to handle that, not just on my own, because obviously you need people, but it's recognizing it in myself and knowing when to connect and who to connect to, and how to be aware and handle yourself at the same time. So all of the stuff I share on Instagram is usually stuff that I've struggled with and I'm working out, or I know about because I've been through it in the past, or stuff that I still want to work on and I haven't quite figured it out yet. So I'm throwing it out there, hoping that somebody else will also put in some of their life experience and being like, oh yeah, I went through that and this really helped. Or, hey, I'm also struggling with this, but somebody gave me this advice. And that's where I really value my Instagram pages, because instead of just like producing content and shoving it out there and waiting for like the likes and the follows and everything, like that's not it. It's a relatively small Instagram page compared to some of the others in the community, but it is a community. Like I have supporters that I've had for years. I have built like friendships all over the world from that, and I've learned so much. I found so many resources that I think are really useful and that a lot of people don't know about, to do with like mental health and planning and organization and just self-awareness in general. So yeah, it's a great page, it's a great community, and I'm really grateful for like all the support that's come my way in the past like 4 years since I started actually taking it seriously. Yeah, what else?
I think, why did you start posting the stuff about mental health? Because just kind of explain what we talked about in private. Um, yeah, why was that important to you now? What led you to do that? Why did that specifically interest you right now? And yeah, just explain more about that.
I always wanted to keep my page pretty realistic and pretty open because, I mean, at first, I'll be completely honest, I was like, I need to have an aesthetic and an image and like the idea that I have all of my ducks in a row and my stuff together.
Yeah.
But the other people in the community started sharing their issues, and the bullet journal community overlaps a lot with people who are struggling with their mental health, particularly
Yeah.
things like different neurodivergencies, autism, ADHD, OCD, anxiety disorders, all of that, things that a lot of people struggle with, that people don't realize
Yeah.
how many people are going through stuff like this. And even if it's not a chronic diagnosis, even if it's not like a lifelong thing, like if you go through a period in your life that's like that, something like bullet journaling can be a great way. So because other people were sharing their stories, I felt a lot more comfortable sharing what I'm going through and how I'm dealing with
Mm-hmm.
things. And it's just kind of destigmatizing the idea of mental health, and that you're allowed to struggle. But I'm also learning so much from other people, and I'm thinking, well, if they just put their experience out there and I'm learning so much from it, maybe somebody will learn from me as
Yeah.
well. Maybe
Yeah.
I could help someone too.
Mm-hmm.
And also me posting it is also a lot for myself. If it's somewhere and it's tangible and it's out there, I can go back to it and I can be like,
Yeah.
oh, I forgot about this. This was really useful.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I started sharing the mental health stuff as well. Also had like a lot of other mental health influences in my life. Like obviously we would always talk about like how
Yeah.
are we actually, and
How are you
this is what I'm
doing?
going through
Like,
when I can't
mm-hmm.
focus. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you, Panache as well,
Yeah.
other friends, just being there for each other and making it a safe space
Mm-hmm.
to actually talk about this, and being like, oh, okay, maybe I'm not the only one going through this, and
Yeah.
okay, maybe I'm gonna get through this. It's not gonna be forever. There is a thing to come out of at the end of this, and it's gonna be worth it, and it's gonna be okay. Um, so just having people who, like, metaphorically you can hold their hand while you're sitting in the dark and just being like, gotta get out, but I will get there,
Mm-hmm.
and there's somebody waiting for me on the other side. So
Yeah.
I love throwing my stuff out there and waiting to see like who relates and who's been there and who's like, oh, I think I've got a friend going through this, and this is going to help me
Yeah.
understand as well. um
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I think it's really valuable to actually just be honest and share in a healthy way as well. Like knowing your boundaries and just being like, this is what I went through. I don't know if anybody else feels it, but this is where I'm struggling, and I need advice. I need steps. I need ideas. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Um, I think for me, I'm honestly having a flashback of when we started being close. And if anyone does not know this, in form four, when I was in form four, I got really depressed and I had suicidal thoughts, and I was like I tried to commit suicide, and I was in a dark space. And I remember, I think the moment where Anna and I got close, like I just remembered it right now as you were speaking, was when I was like, Anna, this is what happened, this and that. We were at prize giving. And
I
I think I
remember
was,
this.
now I'm remembering, like it's coming back to me now. And I told Anna, and she was like, well, this and that, this and that. And I think that's when we started our friendship. And like we started getting closer. And I think especially with that, I think it's always knowing that when you are alone or you feel like you're not in a healthy state of mind, always know that you should go and talk to someone. Like, I think for me personally, the last couple of weeks, last couple of months, doing my spoken word night, it really took a toll on me mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. And like I was not as I wasn't myself. Like I knew something was wrong, but I just knew that I wasn't myself. And I think a part of me knew what was wrong, but I just didn't know like me saying this, like, guys, I'm not okay. Like, I need a break. Like, I think because I found myself like taking a break from the blog. I was like, I don't want to blog anymore. I don't want to write anymore. I'm tired of this, and using excuses to cover that up. Listening to certain types of music, like Hamilton the musical. Like, I don't want to listen to that anymore. Like, it was just small things until it led to a point where I was like, oh, snap. I'm not okay. I need to take a break. I need to structure Shine Your Light in such a way that, like, it won't take away from my mental well-being, and I can also be healthy and produce like content that's going to help, not only help myself but help other people as well. And I think like obviously that didn't take, like, I was like, oh, I'm not okay. It took a couple of times for me to be like, oh, I genuinely need to talk to someone. I genuinely need I need love right now, because when you're in a dark space, um you've constantly been criticizing yourself, or things have been happening and you're being a self-critic and all of that stuff, and you're being hard on yourself. But then in a moment of crisis, when you are emotionally and mentally unavailable to yourself and to others, I think the important thing is to, like what Anna said, to hold someone, to have someone hold your hand and know that you'll be okay. Like, no one can fix you. There's nothing to fix you. Like, perfect the way that you are. You are beautiful and amazing as a human being, the way you have been created. But like in that moment, you just, like, the neurons in your brain, like something has just happened that's like, something isn't okay. I'm no, there's gonna be a therapist here, so she's gonna be able to tell me what happens when you, like, when all of that stuff happens. But something is just like not connecting properly, and you just need some time to like be like, whoa, what's actually going on with me? And I think understanding that, like, if you do have someone that's going through all of this, like, you can't change what's happening in their mind, but you can be there for them. You can be that person that can be like what Anna said, hold their hand and allow them to like express how they're feeling, and allow them to express their emotions, and to wrestle through that process. Because I think us as humans, we just, well, I'll speak on my behalf, I'll speak for myself. I just want to be able to help you, you know, but sometimes you have to let someone sink to show them that they can swim. So and I think that's what you also realize for yourself, like, you can't always like be saving people, you know, you can't always be the lifeguard. You just have to be the bird watching from a certain point of view. um and like, how did you get to that point where you were like, hey man, like, I can sympathize with you, but I can't like throw myself into the situation as if I'm there. Like, I can't like be, I don't know if you get what I'm saying, but like, I can't have the same emotions. I can't like be so codependent that I feel everything you feel. When you're sad, I'm sad. When you're mad, when you're not okay, I'm not okay. So how did you get to that point? Or like, what led to that point?
Through a lot of struggle, actually. Like, I am a very, very empathetic person, like almost to
Yeah.
my own detriment, and implementing boundaries has been a huge struggle for me my entire life. Like, I've always been called too sensitive. I feel things too deeply. I feel for other people more than they feel for themselves. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I'd listen to my friends' problems, I'd come home, I'd start crying, and my mother would be like, this isn't even your problem, what's wrong? So, you know, having somebody actually say that, having somebody be like,
Yeah.
why are you taking on burdens that are not yours to carry?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
You start justifying it. You start justifying it, being like, because I love these people, because I care about them, because I need them as well, and I need them to be okay so I can be okay. And that's an issue as well. But a huge part of it comes out of learning what boundaries are. Like, we always hear about boundaries, and you're like, yeah, okay, obviously I need some space, I need some limits, I need some things, but nobody actually teaches you what boundaries are. And the like turning point for me is, I think what I told you when we had our personal chat is, what is a boundary? A boundary is your authentic yes and your authentic no.
Oh my gosh.
Right? It's not even, do I want to help you? Because I always want to help people, but it's, can I help you without ruining myself first? And that comes back to the whole, like, you know, when you're on an airplane and you're going somewhere and they're doing the whole safety procedure and they're like, always put your oxygen mask on before you can help others. It applies to so many things, because who am I helping if I'm burnt out? Who am I helping if I am breaking down and crying at the end of the day every day? You know how long it took me to realize that wasn't normal. It's ridiculous.
Dude, it's not normal. It genuinely is not. You should be happy most of the time. Like, I am 98% of the time.
And that's where I find things like shine your light and analogy so important, is because it's a conversation starter. And we're always talking about mental health and being like, yeah, we need to start conversations. We need to break down the stigma. But again, look at what that is. What is a conversation? It's not just talking about it. It's not just throwing it out there. It's also, we need to listen. We need to listen to what other people are going through, and listen to ourselves as well, and talk it out. Because, you know, when you try and go through things all by yourself, like I'm very much like this, I'll just keep going in circles and I'll make it worse for myself. And, you know, the threads will all get tangled and it just seems like it never ends. But like once I actually start speaking it out loud, and then I go, oh, this person's heard me say this thing already 5 minutes ago, let's not go back to it. It kind of helps you sort of like structure and line things out. Or you have somebody there giving you feedback like, okay, so we've identified that, now what? Or, okay, do you need me to help you in any way? Is there any way we can tackle this problem right now, or a plan we could make? Or do you just need me to listen? Is this something that's just going to pass?
Yeah. I think
so
yeah. Continue. My mind is blown.
Conversations.
Blown.
Those conversations are so important that they must be conversations and not obviously debates in some aspects of this area are also important, but a conversation needs somebody who's giving out the thing and somebody who's listening and receiving, and then it's got to go both ways. And that's where, when we talk about having a mental health conversation, we must remember that it is a conversation, and it's not just bombarding people with information or being like, oh, everybody's suffering, this is a big problem, and then doing nothing about it. It's got to be constructive. And it's got to be safe. It's got to be valuable. People need to feel heard as well, because if they don't feel heard, they're going to keep going in circles. And that, I think, has been like a defining thing that I've learned over the years, is that I still struggle with it a lot. I struggle with knowing when to ask for help, because I was so used to just burning myself out and thinking, oh, I should be good enough to do this on my own. But big lesson, ask and you shall receive. Just ask. If you don't know how to ask, be like, hey, I don't know if you can help me, but this is my issue. And I can't think of a way you can help me right now, but let's think together. Or just ask.
For all my Christians out there, my churchy people, it says so in the Bible. Ask and you have not, because you have not asked. You have not because you have not asked. Something that I'm maybe paraphrasing wrongly, but it's some ask and you shall receive. It does not only apply when you're praying. Ask someone for help, because you cannot be okay if you don't allow yourself to like let someone into your world. Like, and I think that's why I wanted to do stuff like this, because I found myself just repeating the same thing over and over again. Like, even if you go to my Instagram lives on Shine Your Light, like I was like, I want to talk more to people. I want to have conversations, And it's like, it's not until I was like, I'm going to just start like accumulating enough feed, like asking people, do you want to be a part of this? Yes, no, maybe. Like, so that I could hear people and hear people's opinion. And so that I could also learn. Let me not lie to you, people of the world who are listening to this right now. I started Shine Your Light because I like talking. Okay? And then I started to do other things because I like learning and I like growing. And I'm now in a phase where I'm like, I want to be in a state of just constantly working on myself, just becoming a better version of myself for myself. And like, and realizing that young people have more knowledge than people tend to not understand that we do, and giving people those opportunities to be like, now tell me your story. Like, I want to hear you. I want to like ask you questions, and I want to know what's going on with you. Like, if anyone is like, for me, it's like I wanted to make sure that in these conversations I give the people I'm talking to like more time to talk, because I could cry me a river by talking. But we do that in Motivational Mondays. And to always make sure like that you know that you are not alone, that we are running things, and we are doing uni, and we're doing life, and we're trying to be adulting, and we're also girls, and we're also this and that and all this stuff. But we still have issues. We are not going to negate the fact that we are amazing people. We're going to do amazing things, but we still have normal people issues. And I hope like hearing these conversations, you understand that you are not, there's nothing wrong with you because you're going through any of that, and you shouldn't like shame yourself for anything because you're going through it. But know that there are resources, there are people, there's analogy, there's shine your light, where we want to make sure that you know certain things that we have struggled with. We know how you feel, like you're not alone. And I think especially like what you said, like making it a safe space. I think growing up, you kind of forget that home is always a safe space, but also realizing that you need to be a safe space for yourself first. I think that's what I'm learning um to process my things by myself first, to like process what I've been through and how it's changed me, and then let someone else into that. But like, how have you made yourself like a safe space for yourself? Because um I don't think you can be a safe space for people if you're not a safe space for yourself. So what have you done to like, whether it's working out or whether it's like eating food as much carbs as you want to, because carbs are nice, but we will still work out either way. We'll see what happens to our bodies. Who cares? But yeah, how have you made yourself like a safe space, Anna?
It was a big struggle for me actually, but it kind of came out of necessity. It wasn't something that I thought about before I really needed to. Obviously, with the pandemic and everything, I don't know if everybody knows this, but I left home in December 2019. I left them in December 2019. I haven't been back since yet. I spent 6 months in Denmark, couldn't go home, went to Cyprus, and then ended up here in the Netherlands, and I've been here ever since. And I just felt really anxious, really isolated, and I couldn't put my finger on it. I was like, I'm in Europe, I'm safe, I can walk out, it's great, I have all these opportunities, I'm really lucky, but I didn't feel safe because I didn't trust myself. I didn't feel like I had enough experience to be able to handle myself completely, to not epically mess something up and put myself in danger or something. So learning how to trust myself is an ongoing journey. I'm still working on it, but learning the connection between trust and safety. And we always think about that in like a partnership or a friendship or just general like relationships, but nobody ever really thinks about it in terms of relationship with yourself. Like, do you trust yourself? Can you rely on yourself? And if not, why? What are you doing? And how can you mend that relationship with yourself? Because I started off actually externally trying to make my space as safe as possible, just by making it really comforting. And a key element that took a lot of thinking for me to realize is, if I'm feeling unsafe, I'm feeling vulnerable. And if I'm feeling vulnerable, I feel like a little kid. And I had to treat myself like a toddler. I had to treat myself like a little kid. I made my space as comfortable as possible. I made sure I had comforting things. I have fairy lights in my room that I leave on all the time. I made sure that I had like some greenery and just making my outside space safe, because I spend a lot of time in my room because of online school and everything. And then working on the inside. I used to laugh at people who did this, but now I started doing it as like guided meditations. They helped me a lot in high school when I couldn't sleep. So I went back to that. And I just had to think back to, what were my comforts as a kid? And what can I bring back in? And there's no shame in that. I've gone back to doing a lot of like arts and crafts. I listen to a lot of old music that I used to listen to, and just kind of connecting back with who I used to be as a child when I was carefree and I felt cared for. and just taking care of myself the way I would take care of like baby me is a great way to start just noticing and acknowledging the things that actually make you feel safe. And then once you feel safe, you can learn to trust yourself more. And if you're still struggling to trust yourself, you can figure out, okay, where do I not trust myself, and where can somebody else actually help me with this? Somebody who's not going to judge me with just things like that. Like, I'm still struggling with all the adulting stuff and the paperwork and everything, and I'm just like, I feel like a baby and I feel so behind everybody else, and it can be really embarrassing, but I'm just like, it is what it is. So let me be like, hey, I know you've already learned this and you've already done this. Can you help me out? Can you walk me through it step by step? Let's go. Or even just like talking to, I'm so lucky I have my brother here, and going to him like last semester and being like, hey, I get really anxious going to the grocery store, and I never thought this would be something I'd have to deal with. And he was like, well, okay, we can figure this out. We can find an alternative way. You can go with somebody. You can always go, for me personally, I always go to the grocery store that has self-checkout, so I don't have to talk to a cashier or anything. And it sounds excessive. I'm lucky that I have that resource here. In Zim, we don't have that, but I'm lucky that I have that resource here. And it's like, you know, building a friendly environment for myself and not being able to like stopping the shame around yourself of being like, I need to do this different way to everybody else, maybe just for now, maybe forever, and that's okay. Like, I have the options, I might as well use them. And just that trusting yourself, being safe, then links onto something bigger, which is being able to forgive yourself, which is really hard, especially as hard. A lot of us are perfectionists, and especially like in Zim and coming from Zim, we all are constantly, whether we get it from our parents or it's just the situation or it's just the pressure, whether it be academic or life or social or whatever, is the survival mode.
Survival mode.
So right now the focus in Zim is on mental health and just kind of getting yourself up to a place where you can cope. But eventually you want to move on, want to be not just mental health, but like mental wellness, be like good, like fit, like fitness, but for your emotions and your mind and everything. And just understanding also like what's actually going on in my head when I'm not feeling okay, like knowing that it's not my fault, knowing that it is something chemical, knowing that the brain is an organ of the body and it does just, things go wrong, things happen, and understanding why, and understanding that it's sometimes it's my somebody else to help me. Just understanding education is the foundation of it, learning about it, making those resources available, making it accessible. Like, you and I have started these pages, we're not mental health professionals, we're not. And
we
it's
are
important
not.
that everybody knows that. Like, Shami,
we are not licensed professionals, please just know that.
We're not licensed professionals. We're sharing our experiences, and there's still value in that. And there's still value. That's where I get a lot of the value out of the bullet journal community and people sharing the things, is because some, especially back home, all over the world, but especially back home, mental health resources are not in a space where they are accessible. So opening up these conversations and throwing information out there and people just trying the ones that are safe, and then actually just, you know, reading stuff up. I've come across things I read on the internet. I'm like, oh, this kind of sounds like me, but I don't self-diagnose. I'll then go to my doctor and be like, hey, I read this thing. I really relate to it. Can we look into it? Is it a real thing? Is it something that I need to be worried about? And them either going, no, it's really common and it's okay, like you're within the boundaries, or being like, oh yeah, I didn't notice this in you before, but it's good that you brought it up. And just things like that. So making the information available is a huge way to actually improve the system, because then it makes people feel like they can ask about it, or it makes people feel like now they're aware of something that they didn't realize was a problem before or was a benefit before even. And then putting things into words. Sometimes people can put things into words that we can't put into words, and then you read it and it's like, oh, makes sense now. And that's why these communities and these conversations are, I think, really valuable. Yeah.
You said so much good stuff. Oh my gosh, guys. I think
I feel like I rambled a bit. I'm sorry.
no, man. I was just like talk at a talk. I think for me, just to kind of piggyback on what I asked you, I think for me, how I've tried to make myself a safe space for myself, is allowing myself to cry. Um, Especially that, because if you know me, you just know, like, no nonsense, no, we don't have time to be playing, no, man. But I think sometimes I just need to cry, because there could be tears of joy or just like sad tears or whatever. um just allowing myself to be like, you can cry, you can um okay, so for example, I just been kind of going through stuff with my body and all of that stuff, trying to like pinpoint why some things, like, I don't want to have a hug or whatever. And I was typing it out in my phone, and all of a sudden, like, I finished typing out, like, why did I feel like this, what was going, like, I was like, why do you feel like this, Shami? Like, what was going on in this moment? Why did this moment make you feel like this? And how did you change yourself from after this experience happened, and all of this stuff. And I found myself being very emotional. I was just like, this is, I just started crying. I was like, it's okay. It's okay. Your emotions are valid. Your feelings are valid. Like, you're not going to stay in this space, but like, allow yourself to cry. Because I know that when people are crying, like, for me, I'm always like, don't worry, I got you. I'm holding you, all this stuff. But for me, it's like, I got you, girl. Don't worry. I've got you. I'm holding you. You're safe. And also, just like journaling what am I saying, journaling, writing it out. Like, I want to create journals for Shine Your Light, because my journals, like, I have 10 of them. I finished the one I bought like 6 months ago. I'm like, I'm gonna just make my own and sell them. um and I think that helps me like process everything, and helps me process my feelings. It's also the things that I found out, like, when I went to therapy like a couple years ago. And that's why I'm going to have a therapist as well, to do with the series, to talk about that and talk about how you can actually deal with it from a therapist point of view, not just yeah, to just add on to the knowledge that people can get, and we can also get, and I can also get as well. um and I think what you were saying about the pressure part of Zim, and how we're kind of always in survival mode, I think being in online school helped me realize I don't need to be in survival mode, because it's so like, because you're
Or
alone.
competing.
Exactly, like, I don't have to, that doesn't have to be on. Like, I can actually do what I love to do and learn and have a great university experience without putting pressure on myself that is unrealistic and is not helping me grow as a person. Like, mentally, it's like causing me more anxiety than anything. And to enjoy my degree. This is the first time in a long time I've actually enjoyed school.
Yep. Yep. Same boat. Same boat. Don't worry.
Like,
You kind of realize that there's a whole world out there that you didn't even know was, you didn't even know that academics was supposed to be enjoyable. And academics are not the be all and end all, but like, I love what I'm learning. I love what I'm
yeah,
doing. And that
yeah,
makes the world of a difference.
yeah. You want to learn more, because me, I love business. I'm doing international business management, right? Going into my second year. I love business. And learning the stuff that I've been learning, although it was kind of repetitive, it was like, this is why I love business. This is why I love learning in general, because it's just like, I'm learning stuff. Like, I'm like organized and all this stuff, and I'm having fun making timetables and creating stuff, and I'm having a good experience, and it's not under pressure. It's not like I have to compete with anyone. And it's like, I found my newfound like zest for school again. And I'm just like, hey man, if I could do this online thing forever, I would, because it's just, you don't have nothing. You just have you, the computer, and your books, and you just like, just the curiosity, like what you're saying, the childlike stage you had to go back into. It's like the childlike curiosity I had when I was younger, I had when I was singing, I had, like, it's just, I'm excited right now just talking about it. Like, oh my gosh. And I feel like pressure, don't put pressure on yourself. Pressure is overrated.
Yeah, just to like anybody watching this who's like still in high school or even younger, maybe, like, the one thing I've learned, I don't know if this applies to everybody, but it definitely applies to me, and it applies to like a few other people I've spoken to as well, is the more I grow up, the more I get older and I have to do things on my own, the more I realize that growing up is literally going back to who you were as a child. And it's such a shame that we ended up losing that. Like, we had that pressured out of us, and we were like, oh no, you're not supposed to still have these hobbies. You're supposed to move on. You're supposed to do something serious now.
Get
like,
a 9-to-5 job. Not I, sir.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Anna.
So like, just to anybody who's like struggling through IGCSEs, A levels, O levels, whatever you're going through right now, just once you get out, there is an out, and you start doing what you like, whether it's academic or not, whether it's potato farming or working with solar panels or gardening or going to university or becoming a scientist or winning a Nobel Prize or writing poetry. There is a whole world out there that is not high school.
Pressure. That's not.
And
there's more to life than high school, people.
Yeah, your life is supposed to be enjoyed. Your life is not supposed to be survived.
Yes.
We evolved beyond the survival thing for a reason.
Yes. Yes. Can you hear me? Yes. Exactly. I'm getting excited because I'm like, that is how I feel. Even doing this, I'm like, this gives me so much joy. Find the thing that sparks your joy. Okay, guys, find that thing that child. We need to, people always talk about, like, you need to, when in therapy, you're always like talking to the child in you, like the one that experienced that certain thing, blah, blah, blah. You're talking to them. So include that in your joy, people, in your excitement, in whatever you're pursuing, in your university, in your A-levels. I think my A-level year was the best year of my life, school-wise. All the other stuff, it was like, but school-wise, because I loved what I was reading. I loved knowing, what is Heathcliff gonna do next? Is young Catherine and old Catherine? Who is the ghost? Where, like, I still remember that because I was excited. I was like, hey man, I passed. I got my C's, and I was like,
honestly, if our literature teachers from high school see this, shout out to you guys. You got us through.
You guys
honestly,
are the best. You guys got me through so many. Oh my gosh. Oh, literature was the best. My business and literature class. Oh, you guys, it's amazing. Yeah. But like, guys, stop putting so much pressure on yourself. Shamisa, stop putting so much pressure on yourself. Have fun.
Actually, though, Shami, like, if you had told me when I was in high school, oh, stop putting so much pressure on yourself, because I used to have that, I would have just been annoyed with you. Like, people don't know what that means as well. It's like, just know that there's something beyond that. Okay, get through your A-levels. Do that. Get through whatever you need to get through right now. But don't be doing what I did, where I was like, I spoke to a friend in high school and I was like, I just need to get through this week. And he goes, you know, you're going to be saying that until the end of your life. And I was like, that's a problem.
That's so true.
And I really felt like I was going to be saying that to my end of my life. And it was really, really, really sad. And then I got here and I was like, well, I actually, like, as soon as A-levels were done, I was like, I don't feel like I'm just surviving anymore.
Yeah, you like, feel like you're living.
This is okay.
This is nice. I like my life now. Like, let me actually just be genuine right now. I'm so happy right now. Like I'm like coming back to myself. Well, a new version of myself. But also, like, I'm starting to enjoy life and starting to like allow what's been in the past to just stay in the past. We don't care about that no more. But like, I'm enjoying life and I'm like, I'm happy. And I'm just like, hey man, like, I'm going to be traveling very soon because I have an itch to travel. Anyone who wants to sponsor Shine You, no, anyone that wants to sponsor me, pay me. Guy Fieri,
I mean, that would be
whatever
nice.
his surname is, he is getting paid $80 million for the next 3 years to eat food. Hello, I'm here. I can go anywhere you want me to go. You want to sponsor me? Smeg, Nike. You want me to go there to where Smeg is made? Come. Like, I think enjoy life, guys. Do you know what 2020 taught us? I don't even remember 2020. When 2021, I forgot. Enjoy life. Enjoy it. Have fun. Don't be dumb. Please. Hey, I'm not saying be stupid. Hey. I'm not here for that.
You can be stupid as long as you're not hurting anybody or yourself. Then it's fine. But like you can be fun dumb, but you don't need to be dumb.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like,
but it's also like,
don't put so much pressure on yourself, guys. Yeah, you're saying?
Coming back to the academic pressure thing, this was a huge wake-up call when I was in Denmark and I was at that gymnastics school and everything. Like, there were people there from all walks of life, people who had done like really hardcore mathematics degrees, who were now just vibing on trampolines and doing stuff like that. And it's there's so much more to life than what you've studied. There's so much more to life than what people expect from you. Like, it's okay to let people down. It is so okay to let people down.
You're gonna let people down anyway. So hey, man, just live a life that is gonna be
meeting all these people who've done such incredible things, or they were part of like the military or whatever, and then some of them stayed after we finished our gymnastics program, and they now work at that school and they're doing things like cleaning, and they're these people who are so highly qualified, have studied such amazing things, and they have never been happier than when they are now working at that gymnastics school, not doing anything related to their degree, vibing on, okay, look, it helps being in a country that gives you a decent minimum wage or a decent salary and everything. But that's it again. There's a whole world out there, and you know, Zim is not quite in that stage. I hope we can get it to that stage someday, but like, if you can find the joy in Zim, applause to you. It's not easy, but if you can, there are people, you can. It is
What's
home.
Up? I'm the
amazing. But there is a whole world, and you need to kind of take a step back and look at your life path and be like, who put me here? And why am I still on it? Is this really what I want to be doing? And if you don't know what you want to be doing, I don't know what I want to be doing. I just like where I am right now. I don't know what I want to be doing. I don't know what my plan is.
Hey man, the future will take care of itself. Stop worrying. Everything will take care of it. Guys, these are all Bible references. Like, two other people were like, I don't go to the Bible. Go to the Bible. Tomorrow will take care of itself, mate. Sorry. I'm shocked. No, I'm not sorry. This is my thing. I can do whatever I want to do.
That is your thing.
This is really fun, guys. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Guys, I love my Anna. Guys, I don't know. She's still my wifey. You know, she will forever be my wifey, but she's just out of a job right now. Can you not see how beautiful she is, guys? I have beautiful friends because I'm a beautiful person. So, but this has been fun. This has been really fun. Like, I hope you had fun, Anna. Thank you for taking your time to like talk to me and all that stuff. And I don't know when this is gonna come out, but if you're seeing it right now, it means that I posted. So I might post this next week. It depends how I'm feeling.
And if anybody has any questions about what I do, what my system is, you want to get into bullet journaling, you want to just know what I do as a person, or feel free to DM me on either of my Instagram accounts. And I'm always keen for a conversation. If you come in there with specific questions, it helps because I'm not great with like broad conversation.
Yeah.
But I'm available. Just let me know if you need help.
Yeah, I'll make sure that I put all the links. I'll tag you in everything. Don't worry. Like, now I'm like, I am going to post this next week because I'm like, this is too good of a conversation to hold until I have enough footage. Like, I'm just going to let it just roll and all that stuff because I feel like this is needed. I'm going to listen to this when I shoot it, when I put on the YouTube and when I put on my Instagram and Shine Your Light's Instagram and all that stuff and tag you in it, because I'm just like dropping gems. Dropping. We love to see it. But yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed this, Anna. I have had a really fun time. Like, I love listening to you. I hope anyone who is listening to this, like, that you know that you're not alone, that you know that we do have people, and we are making sure that you have resources to always make sure that your mental health is good, that you are good as a person, and that you are prospering in your mind, because that's very necessary. I think I feel like the brain is a beautiful organ. It's an organ, right? Yes.
It is an organ.
Okay.
Yep.
I know something. And I hope you guys have just liked this conversation. And I had a great time, man. This is fun. I'm gonna have so much fun with these series. Like, ooh, guys, I'm so excited.
I'm so
But
looking forward to
Anna,
seeing the others.
but Anna, my beautiful friend, thank you, thank you for being part of this conversation. For being my first like official like guest in the last couple of months, because I haven't been posting anything. But thank you nonetheless. I hope
I'm
you have
so
an
honored to be a
amazing
part of
day.
it.
I'm
You
so
too.
happy right now. Oh my god, you guys have no idea. I keep talking and I'm like, I need to end this, but I keep talking. This is just a good conversation.
It's okay. There's always editing.
I have to edit all. I'm not a one woman show, but like editing wise, I'm just like, I'm gonna figure this out. But Anna, thank you so much for
Thank you
being
for
the
having
first,
me.
First guest for Hear Me Out, mental health edition. I hope you have a beautiful day. We will tag you, we will at you on all the platforms that Shine Your Light and myself that I'm on. But yeah, thanks, Anna.
Love you lots.
Love you too, girl.